What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Hump Day Wednesday so far. This is NYG Jeffy T 85 here, and I'm bringing you a little bit of news surrounding the Brooklyn Nets, not on an injury front, but on a potential buyout candidate that could be a part of the Brooklyn Nets talk of potentially joining the roster when buyout season comes right after the NBA trade deadline. And that I'm talking about is former Portland Trailblazer and Denver Nugget small forward slash shooting guard and current Washington Wizards shooting guard, Will Barton. Now, Will Barton is pretty much a player that was acquired during free agency this past season by the Washington Wizards when he left the Denver Nuggets before. And he's pretty much been a player that's just, he's been a starter at times, but he's mostly been coming off the bench too. He's a solid scorer. He's only been averaging, though, this season 8 points per game in 37 games overall with 3 rebounds and 3 assists for the Washington Wizards in 37 minutes per game. And he's obviously a player that's been around for a while. He's played in 8 seasons overall for the Washington Wizards this year, previously with the Denver Nuggets for at least 5 seasons, and then he played 3 seasons before that with the Portland Trailblazers. And I mean, he is 6'6", 181 pounds, so this guy does have some talent. He has had seasons previously where he's put up at least, double-digit points per game. I believe in 2020, 2021, he scored close to 17 points per game, 18 points per game. So he can score and put the ball into the basket. But he has actually been named a potential candidate for a buyout for the Washington Wizards. So right now the Wizards, they're not really going anywhere this year. If anything, the Washington Wizards are more getting closer to like the playing game. They obviously just traded Roy Hachimura to the Los Angeles Lakers before for 2 second-round picks and Kendrick Nunn. So that was a big future piece that they decided to move off of. And at the same time, they have decided that they want to try to keep Kyle Kuzma, but it looks like that Will Barton might want to try to, negotiate a buyout with the Washington Wizards because he's interested in winning a championship with a certain team. Maybe he gets a buyout. Maybe he returns back to Denver. You never know. But right now, the 2 rumored teams, if Will Barton can negotiate a buyout from the Washington Wizards, are the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets. The question, though, with the Nets is, where would he fit? Because you already got a lot of crowded players in that small forward slash shooting guard position for the Nets right now on this team. You got Royce O'Neal there. You got Ben Simmons who could play the 3. You got Seth Curry. You got Joe Harris, Cam Thomas. You got Yuta Watanabe. You got T.J. Warren. You got Edmund Sumner. You got Patty Mills. You obviously got Kyrie Irving if you put him at the 2 sometimes. You got a lot of players that are in that crowded spot at the 2 or the 3. So the question is, if you decide to get a guy like Will Barton, who goes? Who decides to get off this roster? Who do you try to trade away to open up a space for maybe a big? I like Will Barton. I think he's a solid player. He's a pretty decent defensive player that could really be an asset for a depth reason. You could maybe have him as a backup 3, backup 2 on your team. So I would not mind if, for instance, Will Barton does get a buyout from Washington and then eventually he becomes a guy that the Brooklyn Nets have interest in potentially signing, as a buyout candidate. But at the same time, right now, this roster, like I mentioned, is very crowded at the shooting guard and the small forward position. Plus, I could see him being a pretty decent fit over there with the Milwaukee Bucks because there's rumors going around that the Bucks might look to try to trade off Grayson Allen. And the latest rumor going around is they might do a straight-up trade with the New York Knicks for Grayson Allen and Cam Reddish. So they might want to try to get a guy like Cam Reddish because he is a solid wing defender. And they might want to try to add a little bit more defense to the shooting guard position in replacement of a guy like Grayson Allen. So Barton, I don't know. I would actually not mind if they can get a guy like Will Barton, if he becomes available. But then at the same time, you're still lacking in the front court right now. And you have to wonder which one of these guys on this shooting guard / small forward group right now would have to be the one to get traded away eventually. Or, lose some playing time due to the fact that you want to pick up a Will Barton. But I mean, he's had a decent year this year. And like I said, 8 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He's averaging under a block and an assist per game right now. I mean, averaging under a block and a steal per game in 37 games. So he's played almost every game this year. He's missed about 3-4 games so far. But at the same time, Barton could be another one of those combo, guard / forwards and a good defensive player that can help this Nets team when we're going up against some of the tougher teams in the East, like Cleveland, like Boston, like Philadelphia, Miami, Atlanta if they're still competing, Milwaukee. I mean, it's still a pretty decent Eastern Conference overall. So getting a guy like Will Barton will not hurt this team at all. It would help this team. It all just depends on what Washington right now is thinking when it comes to their chances of competing in the Eastern Conference. Depending if they still think they have a chance to do something in the East. I mean, right now, Porzingis is dealing with a little bit of injuries. Beal has missed time with injury. Kuzma, they pretty much said, is not going to be traded. So it sounds like they're going to hang on to Kyle Kuzma. But we'll have to wait and see what the Washington Wizards decide to do with the guy like Will Barton, and if he looks at an opportunity of Brooklyn or Milwaukee that might give him the best chance to potentially win an NBA championship in the Eastern Conference and in the NBA. So I just want to give you guys that quick news about the fact that the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks right now look like to be the favorites for veteran guard / shooting guard / small forward Will Barton if he does negotiate a buyout contract with the Washington Wizards and becomes a free agent during the NBA trade deadline or right after it on February 9th. So if you guys like this video, hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYGJeffreyT85 for more breaking news, updates, and chatter surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video is short dropping on the channel surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. And you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about the potential of Will Barton being signed to the Brooklyn Nets if he does become a free agent after negotiating a buyout with the Washington Wizards around the time of the NBA trade deadline on February 9th. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Hump Day Wednesday. Take it easy, and let's go, Brooklyn Nets. Let's get it done tonight. I will be live tonight for the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers game tonight with my guy, Mitch Kovsky, on the Hardcore Sports Network, as well as our own individual channels, and I will give you a BKN game recap after the game is over. Let's go, Brooklyn Nets. It's a Nets world, and we all just live in it.